Trend 1, from newsletters to data-driven campaigns. In this trend, what we see in the last years in the marketing space is that before marketing would do things like newsletters and just do email blasts, have a list of subscribers and just send the same communication to all of those. Result, low or declining engagement. And that's not surprising because everyone's sending email. It is still an excellent, if not one of the best marketing channels there is. But customers are oversaturated. It's as simple as that. I mean, just look at your own behavior. Do you read every email? Do you not unsubscribe from newsletters? There you go. So what do work smart marketers do today? Well, they segment based on different kind of things like commercial, behavioral, and transactional data, and they do data-driven campaigns. And that's what that word data-driven means. It's that there is a specific selection done on the data before an actual campaign is sent. Results, increased ROI. And of course, better customer engagement, less unsubscribes, and so on. But ROI is by far the most important one. There's a few things supporting this trend. So first off, customers really value their customer experience, and personalization is the key. For instance, Salesforce in its own research found that 84% of the surveys believe that the experience that a company provides is as important as its products and services. Like, think about that for a second. Like, it doesn't even matter that you're selling a certain cup. It's how you bring that cup to your customers that is important. Now, what are good ways to personalize? And so I'll give you a little bit of Q&A at the end to give you a few ideas. So, for instance, within a certain email message, you might do things like dear first name, right? But that's just the absolute minimum. You can also use demographic information, referring to their geography, referring to the type of customer they are, but also very behavioral, meaning what kind of purchases have they done. But that's the personalization within the message. And there's an example of that on the right-hand side. But you can also just personalize outside of the message. What I mean with that is it has more to do with targeting. The message itself that you're going to send, it's again, don't just send out that email blast. If you have a specific interesting service to launch, for instance, not everyone's going to be interested in that. So choose your battle wisely. How do I get started developing better customer experiences? There's a few ways of doing this. In large organizations, more and more, you'll see that they are designing specific departments to drive this, such as CX, customer experience, or RevUps, that's more in B2B, and a few others. It's still a matter of mapping and optimizing customer journeys, and that should not be a surprise to anyone. That's what people have been preaching for years, but it's still worthwhile to doing that once again, and taking that step back. It's exactly what we are doing actually in these few weeks for our own marketing. Note, when I say customer journey, by the way, throughout this presentation, I do not mean a journey in SFMC. There is such a thing. It is very valuable, and I recommend you look into that functionality. But a customer journey is wider than that. In fact, a customer journey can consist out of several SFMC journeys. So just to be clear on the terminology. Okay, another thing supporting this trend of going from newsletters to data-driven campaigns is just the simple fact that marketing tools and databases have exploded. And this is a nice screen from the MarTech landscape. And I think most marketers are tired of this image by now because it's something that is shown very often. But I really like this one because it shows a trend over time, going from about 150 tools in 2011 to 8,000 10 years later, or not even 10 years later. It's ridiculous. And that just supports the fact, there's more different databases to be managed. And so that is just like the bottom-up reason why there is more data-driven campaigns possible to begin with. So what if you're only sending newsletters or some basic journeys? No, first off, they may still have value. And don't underestimate the power of optimizing a newsletter by different content, A/B testing, better visuals, and especially subject lines. But we at DESelect are of the opinion you should seek to go beyond that and look beyond. So to seek to increase the organization's marketing maturity of the org where you're working by taking different steps, looking more to what could be more refined campaigns with better results. So to give you a few ideas, because some people might ask us, what other kinds of campaigns can I launch? There's just a very extensive list here. Cross-sell campaigns, upsell campaigns. You can do product and service launches or relaunches. Birthday journeys. You can do seasonal/regional campaigns. And it's sometimes underestimated how effective that is, by the way, just sending a Christmas greeting, at least to remain top of mind. But it has to be delivered in a good way, as to not feel spammy. Other things, retention, churn avoidance campaigns, super important. Referral campaigns, win-back campaigns, and then more demographic-driven campaigns and more behavioral-driven campaigns. And behavioral even beyond the transactions, but you could also start to actually, once you have collected enough data on purchases and customer behavior, to start doing things like they would in retail, which is RFM, recency, frequency, monetary, a very interesting model. If you haven't heard of that, check out our blog. We have a very good blog on the subject. What if I don't really have that many data sources? So maybe you are lucky, maybe you don't have a lot of data sources. Still, even if you have a few, you will want to integrate them in a way that enables marketers, meaning that the marketers can self-manage as little dependent as possible. And so, again, a no-code integration solution will be something you want to look for. But aside from that, most likely your data sources will grow over time and will change over time. So you want something that is flexible. What if I already have plenty of data sources available in Salesforce Marketing Cloud and I'm still figuring out how to best use them? So, if you already have a lot of data, managing that data in SFMC typically still requires a lot of SQL, and so that's code, and it can take a while to figure it out. And frankly, there's not a lot of marketers out there who know it or are very enthusiastic about writing code, right? So if that's a problem you're facing, I would suggest just check out DESelect segment, our main product that solves this issue, but it's not the topic of this presentation.